Our next award is at the very heart of this event. It's what unites us and gives us purpose as a community. To present the Hope Through Caring Award, please help me welcome Paul Astolfi. You're bringing them to silence, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Astolfi. I am very proud to be friends with the recipients tonight, Brian Davis and Katy McNeil. And in fact, Katy is my law partner, and before that, we worked together when she was just an associate. And before that, she was in my class many years ago at the University of Michigan Law School, where we met, and where she met Brian, which was a very significant event in both their lives. When Katy asked me to do this tonight, I absolutely, gladly accepted. I love them both very much and was looking forward to doing it, but I did struggle a little bit when thinking about how to put the speech together, so I asked Laura for the guidelines for the award, and that was extremely helpful, because if you look at the criteria for the Hope Through Caring Award, effectively what you'll find is a description of Brian and Katy. You find words like dedication and devotion and leadership. Equally, you could add grace, caring, love. We lost Brian in January of this year, sadly, and even in the middle of all of the sorrow and pain of that event, I learned a great lesson, and I want to share it with you tonight. And I hope that it will bring hope to you all, that the future is going to be in good hands and will be brighter indeed than the past. What I learned at that event, and I'm going to speak now very highly of some people in the room. I'm not going to name names, but y'all know who you are. It was an unbelievable experience for me to see young people, 35, 6, 37 years old, dealing with something that should never be asked of people of that age, and dealing with it with an incredible amount of grace, compassion, love, the ability of these young people to process the death of their friend, their son, their brother, their husband, and to share that experience with the rest of us in a way that allowed us to grieve as well was extremely profound and meaningful. And most significantly, I would say, the ability of Katy particularly to stand up at the end of Brian's celebration of life, take the microphone and speak eloquently and lovingly of her husband, friend, father to their two daughters, exceeded only by their 5-year-old coming up in the middle of the speech, taking the microphone from Katy, and like a true daughter of two lawyers, capably telling the rest of us, first of all, thank you for coming to my party. And second of all, if you miss Daddy like I do, just put a picture of him next to your bed and it'll make you feel better. And then Katy took the microphone back from her and finished her speech. So to Brian and Katy, the award goes, and Katy, I think you're supposed to come up and finish this.
I believe that 5-year-old daughter in question is at home watching this, even though it's way past her bedtime. So I feel like an Oscar winner right now. Go to bed! But I'll also share with her, or share with all of you, the advice she gave me tonight, which was to get up here and sing. And then when I gently told her, I think Paul just let you know I'm a lawyer, I'm not quite a singer. She said, "Ma, sing Pink Pony Club." So if I get really nervous, I'll just start singing Pink Pony Club. On behalf of my late and very loved husband, Brian, and myself. I want to start off first by saying thank you to Laura Frevaletti and the entire Les Turner team for this incredible honor. We were thrilled when Laura gave us the news, surrounded by Brian's neurologist, Dr. Senda Edridris. And Dr. Driss, by the way, earlier promised me she will be on the dance floor with us, so please get ready for that. And our tireless social worker, Easton Stevenson. We were touched beyond measure that we were asked to speak at a time when support for the clinic's mission is more important than ever. When I gave Brian the news back in the fall, I told him to start working on the speech immediately, since he would have to type it all via eye gaze, which is a notoriously slow process. He quickly shot back, "You're not the boss of me," and immediately changed the subject. He was the type of person who could have written the speech in an hour and made you laugh and move you to tears in equal measure, and the only thing that stopped him from being here delivering the speech did unfortunately happen when Brian passed away in January. His death is tragic, but my hope is that it brings into sharp focus why we are all here tonight, that the wages of an ALS diagnosis is death. If you could, for just a minute, indulge me in a small role-playing exercise. For those of you in the room who are parents, I'd ask you to picture the moment that you saw your future child on a sonogram for the first time. And for those of you who are not parents, I want you to imagine for a moment the joy you may feel at creating life and getting to experience a physical manifestation of that fact for the first time. I'd like you to sit with the excitement of whom your child would be, the apprehension of how you can build the best possible life for them, the worries that all parents have about how you keep them safe for the rest of pregnancy and then for the rest of their lives. The first time I experienced this, it was the fall of 2019, and my law school classmate, best friend, and husband was holding my hand in a dark room on South Michigan Avenue when I first saw the collection of cells moving around that would become my energetic and beautiful, and as I understand it, fighting her bedtime daughter, Ada. The second time, in late summer of 2023, I was with my independent and curious daughter, Penny. I was a few blocks north in an OB located in Northwestern's hospital campus, where I planned to deliver, and where Brian was scheduling visit after visit to try to figure out the source of his slurred speech. 6 weeks later, we sat in a doctor's office and we were told that Brian had ALS. I broke down in the office, tears pouring out as I kept envisioning the picture from the sonogram. My daughter, who was 12 weeks along in her gestation. Brian was a few weeks shy of 36. I also think about the sonogram that Eva, my mother-in-law, had when she saw him for the first time. And that anything can happen, but ALS is truly the worst of those things for your husband, the father of your children, or your own child. Brian was a classically handsome, physically fit young man who had grown up playing hockey on the North Shore of Chicago, kept long hours in both the gym and the office, but cut back dramatically on both when Ada was born, so he could spend as much time with her as he could. He loved being a dad and would ride Ada to her daycare on the backseat of his bike and bake pizzas with her favorite toppings. Brian was the last person you would expect or hope to get a terminal, devastating diagnosis like ALS. When he was diagnosed, however, he didn't turn into himself or spend too much time feeling sorry for his circumstances. He put his head down and got to work. He signed up for any clinical trials he could. He solicited his former and current employers to make sizable donations to Les Turner on his behalf, and he raised awareness for the day-to-day impacts of his disease on his life and his family's. He worked tirelessly even when the only way he could speak or make an internet comment was by typing each letter individually using his eyes. He took the diagnosis and turned it into as much good for other people battling this disease as he could. And his legacy lives on in his friends, family, and extended network that continue to support the cause on his behalf. We know firsthand that life as an ALS patient or an ALS caregiver is extremely demanding. The patient suffers constant indignities and frustrations as their ability to independently lead their lives is stripped steadily away. And each ability they lose, they do so with the knowledge that there's no way to bring it back. Caregivers sacrifice so much of their own needs for the needs of their patient, frequently losing sleep, time alone, or with friends, or even sometimes not even having time to take a long shower. Both the patient and the caregiver need to learn new ways of handling everyday tasks, like eating and toileting. The effects of the disease are relentless, and it is easy for all of us, those living with the disease and those who are not, to try not to think about it unless we absolutely need to. The reason why Les Turner is so special is that they don't look away. They confront those realities and more for each individual who utilizes their services. They always want to know the damage the disease is doing and to use their expertise to help patients and caregivers put up as much of a fight as possible. We are deeply honored to support the mission of the Les Turner ALS Foundation and to celebrate Brian's legacy alongside the countless others who have bravely faced this devastating disease. In Brian's memory, and in honor of every family touched by ALS, we invite you to give as generously as you can tonight. Federal funding cuts are threatening the very clinics and services that family like ours depend on, making your support more vital than ever. Your gift tonight doesn't just fund care, it fuels hope, research, and the promise of a future without ALS. Thank you.